some time now, right? We talked about it several months ago, and we always deal with the real estate and the selling of the houses. But who better to help us with some questions about, the way that houses are valued and stuff like that, other than Ms. Kim. So, Kim, if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been doing real estate and stuff like that.
All right. My name is Kim Hayes. I'm a certified residential appraiser. I've been in business since 2009. It's me and my dad. We're associate appraisers in an office. We're called Chris Cunningham Appraisals, and we're located in Pineville. We cover a variety of parishes. We cover about 7 parishes in Central.
Awesome. So let's cut to it, right?
Okay.
So these are some questions that we get from clients and questions that I just have, and I get to take advantage of you being here, so I'm going to ask them.
That's what I'm here for. Okay.
So my first question is, you're out looking at houses, and then we get these questions, people thinking about putting their house on the market. Right. If it has a mother-in-law suite, or it has solar panels, or an outdoor kitchen, some of those things that's hard to quantify in value, like what does that look like from your side?
Okay, so each situation is its own situation. Sometimes those amenities add value, especially when it comes to mother-in-law suites or outdoor kitchens. You want to conform to what's common in the neighborhood. So if you're in an area where everybody in the neighborhood has an outdoor kitchen, well, chances are you want to conform. You want to get with the program, add the outdoor kitchen. But what I can say is that cost doesn't always equal value. And what I mean by that is it might cost you $100,000 to install a mother-in-law quarters, but you may not see that on a return in your value. It all depends on your financial situation, is if you want to take that step, because you might not see it on the appraisal, but it is good for marketing. It makes your house more marketable to the interested buyer. With solar panels, that's a sticky situation in our market too. I haven't seen where they contribute a lot of value to the properties, but it's a case-by-case situation. If we were maybe in California, Arizona, I've seen where they contribute a lot of value there, but here it's not proven that it's going to increase the property values a lot.
I got you. So you're saying, like, if solar panels are, 8 to 10,000, it may give you like an extra 500 or 1,000, but it's not going to give you.
And the number might be 0. It all depends on what's common in the neighborhood. Gotcha. If everybody in the neighborhood has solar panels and you don't, well then your property value might be lower than what everybody else in the neighborhood is.
Gotcha.
So like I said, you want to conform to what's common in the neighborhood.
And some of the stuff, you want to do it like if you want that feature on your house, not necessarily that you're trying to generate a better return on your money.
Value. Right, yeah. Especially when you think about like mother-in-law, the cost is probably going to exceed what your return's going to be.
Sure.
Same thing sometimes with a swimming pool. If you decide to put in a swimming pool, use it for your enjoyment. Yeah. Not because you want
you're trying to flip the property and bring the value up. Right.
Because cost, like I said, doesn't always equal value.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. So here's one that we get all the time. Does a closet make a bedroom?
That is a good question.
Because we hear that.
I hear it a lot.
Right.
I get questions a lot about it also. Okay, right. Back in the day, the term bedroom, there used to be this stipulation that they said that for it to be a bedroom, it needs to have a closet. Well, what I've learned and researched is that it doesn't technically have to have a closet in order for it to be a bedroom. What quantifies a room to be a bedroom is the fact that it has a form of privacy to the person who is occupying the room, and it has to have a form of egress and ingress to whoever's living in the room. So if that means there's got to have a window for the person to be able to escape in the case of an emergency,
okay.
And then the person living in the room, it needs to have a door, and it can't be a pass-through from one room to another room.
Right. Like it needs to go to a common area, right? Like a hall or a living room.
Yeah, let it have one entryway, and that will have that will be considered a bedroom. Because if you think about it, in the older houses, they didn't have closets. They had big pieces of furniture.
Yeah, like a wardrobe or whatever.
Right,
yeah.
But they were still considered a bedroom.
Gotcha.
So just make sure that you have a door for privacy, and then you have a window for egress and ingress.
So if you have to walk through one bedroom to get to another room,
you can't call them both a bedroom.
Right. It's just a bedroom with maybe like another study or
and you may be able to use it as a bedroom.
Right. It's just on an appraisal.
On an appraisal, It's not a bedroom.
Right. Okay, got you. That makes sense. Okay, so here's another one. So, people think about putting their house on the market, and they're like, okay, my roof is, it's not leaking or anything, but it has some age on it. Should I replace it, and then I'll be able to ask more for my house?
Right.
Tell us about that, and maybe an AC unit or like mechanical stuff.
Okay. I always tell people that you want to lower the effective age of your house. And what I mean by that, there's your actual age and then there's your effective age. So anytime that you add anything to your house or change anything, it lowers that effective age of the house. So if you put a new roof on your house, it is an improvement and it could affect the overall value. It's case by case basis. And like I said, cost doesn't always equal value. And with FHA and RD, the certain type of loans that you have to apply for, their stipulation is that the roof has at least 2 years left on its life. And the same thing with air conditioning. If it's present, it has to function and operate. If they're there, they have to work. But if the house doesn't have air conditioning, it doesn't mean it won't qualify for FHA or RD financing. It just means it has to have some form of permanent heat source. So make sure that if you have your mechanicals there and present, that they are working and operational.
Okay, and so you said 2 years of life, and that's most loan types, like 2 years.
I always use FHA and rural development as the statement line, because they have pretty strict
So the same thing as what we talked about before. Like if I put a roof on my house and it's $12,000, it doesn't mean I can jack up the price by $12,000 and just recoup my.
I wouldn't do that. Chances are that's not dollar for dollar.
Right. You may get some, but not everything. Okay, well, cool. Well, tell us. We were talking before we went live, and Kim had seen some numbers recently. We all know that real estate kind of goes up over time nationwide. But you noticed some numbers here. So tell us, what do we have in Cenlaw as far as the prices?
Well, I pulled over the last 3 years on everything in Rapides Parish. I pulled the sales over the last 3 years, and I noted the rate of change in median sales price.
Okay.
And I noted that it, on paper, increases 1% per year.
Okay.
So if you're trying to decide what to list your house for, you might want to be conservative on your pricing based on that figure that I've done research on, but our MLS reflects. But a good, peace of mind that you'll have is to hire an appraiser to come out and do an appraisal before you list the house. But over our market in Rapides Parish, I've noticed a 1% change in the last 3 years.
Yeah. I don't know what the national statistics are. I guess that's something that I need to look up. But I mean, of course, our area is what's most important.
Well, and the good thing about our market is that it's increasing over time. It's not declining in the median sales price. So that's a good thing for our homeowners.
Right. Well, and back in, 07, 08, when there was the big crash, we felt some of that, but we didn't feel it here near like other like more
big
tourist areas did. So that's a good thing. We may not increase very quickly as some places do, like your Denvers and your San Franciscos, but at the same time, we're not going to drop off either.
Right.
It's
and
just
we're
a
not
slow,
stable
steady.
Either.
Right.
We're still just on a slow increase.
Yeah. If it's 1% a year and it's 10 years later, well, then you might have a 10% increase.
To me, that any increase in real estate is better than none.
Yeah, absolutely. So. And so you just mentioned something. This kind of brings us to our last topic. But, as a realtor, people say, okay, well, John, I'm thinking about putting my house on the market, and I really want to know what it's worth. I have an idea, but can you run some comps for me? And then we'll do that. But then I'll get out to the house, and it's a very unique property. It's maybe architecturally built different, or the terrain is not flat, and it's very hilly or very wooded or whatever. So, what do you think? I mean, I know you're an appraiser, and so if we say, well, should we get it appraised before we list it? Of course, I would say, well, yeah, get Kim to appraise it. But
I would recommend a pre-listing appraisal on a house, especially if you haven't had an appraisal in a while, or if you've done a lot of work to the house in a recent period of time. Or like John was saying, if you have something that's oddball and not cookie cutter, it might be wise to get an appraisal. But most of the time, I would trust your realtor with pulling comps. But in the event that they're unsure of what the value is or you're unsure of the value, I always suggest getting a pre-listing appraisal.
Yeah, probably, case by case, like, if you bought a house 3 years ago and you have to relocate due to a job, I mean, it probably hasn't changed much in 3 years.
In 3 years, well, you could use the 1% per year, statistic that we found in MLS.
Sure.
That's a good, simple way. But if you want a more thorough and in-depth way of determining the value, hire an appraiser, and we can give you the bottom line where you're not leaving any money on the table and you're not overpricing yourself out of the market.
And I know I'm putting you on the spot with this, and I know it could vary on the property, but what do y'all typically charge for a pre-listing appraisal? What does that look like?
I can't say for
you really need to see the property.
It's based on each property, individual, in our market, I've seen as low as $200 up to about $600. It all depends on the individual appraiser too and how they set their prices.
Oh, okay, yeah. So. Okay, well, cool deal. I think that's all we have for today. I want to thank everybody for joining in. We're going to put this video out. Of course, it was Facebook Live, but some people can't tune in and watch it right then. But we're going to post the video after the fact. So if you have any questions, just let us know. We're probably going to do another one of these in a couple weeks, and we'll try to set it as an event. And we'll try to do some Q&A that maybe some people in the area have some questions for Ms. Kim, and she can come back and help us. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks
and thank you guys for joining in. We appreciate it.